Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome. To begin, in the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. So, first of all, I want to begin by saying that the context and perspective of the speaker here is simply that I consider that self, others, and the world are not the main focus of life, and they are not to be worshipped. And what is to be worshipped is that which is beyond the world. A God that is uncreated yet has created creation. A relationship between a massive existential system and the presence of a system administrator. Now, I started using this metaphor, and because to me, going through the life I lived, I came to a point where I realized that what I thought was my life was actually how I was trapped in a process of self-worship. And what that means is that I didn't see anything more important than myself. And because I had this impression that what I'm seeing is the truth. So when I came to the limitations of myself, in an act of submitting myself and letting it go, I started praying, and the follow-up convinced me that there is a creator. Now, I thought about it because I am someone alive in these modern times. I was thinking about, I'm someone who has observed the designs and spoken about the designs of various ideological systems. And if we are to look at religion, religion is, in some sense, this is a metaphor that means God cannot be, because it is beyond the world, nothing in the world can act like it knows it. That's the humility part. But as someone who's alive now, I have access to technology, and there is technology in this world. And so the metaphor that life, this world is first there's existence, and then the idea next that existence is a system, and then the idea that, okay, systems are being administered, that means they're functioning, they have administration. The next question is, the systems tend to have system administrators. So what is the system administrator of reality? Now, I don't know if this is something that can be considered in an IQ test, But if you were to look at the IQ from an aerial view, you were looking at the planet and you saw a being was born in a world and you wanted to measure the IQ of that being, you would look at what that being notices about where it is. So this is very important, that when I'm saying, the one and only God, there is no God but God, and that's the existential system administrator, and go directly to the system admin. Do not go to the moderators or members. That means do not let the worldly replace the relationship beyond the world that you can have with your creator, and that's in the privacy of your own being. So this episode is dedicated to me taking this metaphor of the system admin further. It's a very understandable metaphor. If you look at human beings, and let's say right now you are an atheist. So first of all, I am Muslim, but the way I perceive, the eyes I have is like unique to who I am being now. It's unique to my soul. I wanted to explain that religion is saying go directly to God, okay? Establish a link with the creator as the created. Now, as the created, I find myself in an existential system, and the existential system admin is real to me. So I'm continuing this talk with the context that I'm in an existential system and there's a system admin. The system admin is beyond the system. The system admin is not created in the way that the world is created, so technically to the world it is uncreated. That means the system admin is uncreated. Now, I've perceived personally this metaphor through numerous ways, but I thought it might be an interesting idea in these modern times to use technology and to use AI to see what possibilities there are. So I asked AI in some sense that if we were to take this metaphor of that God is the existential system admin, humans are the members in the system, within his system, and in some sense other forms like deities, angels, other things, the devil, these are moderators. So the idea is focused directly on the system admin. Now, I asked ChatGPT if this was life, like if existence was like this, what would the purpose of members in an existential system with a system admin be? And this is not bound to a religious context, or this is just sharing with you angles and perspectives. This is my whole, something that I spoke about in previous lectures, was that you can hold an object in your hand, look at it from different viewpoints. So similarly, you can also look at an idea or a thought or a position or a shape or a subjective shape or form from different angles. And what I'm doing is simply looking at this metaphor that God is the existential system administrator and human beings are the existential members of the system, right, of his system. So the question is, the information I'm sharing you is to share with you perspectives is to share perspectives with you of what could be the purpose of members in an existential system with an admin. So ChatGPT 4, just for historic value sake, has given answers. It says system debuggers. In this role, humans are seen as agents tasked with identifying. So think of it this way, it would be the metaphor of souls. In this role, humans are seen as agents tasked with identifying and solving problems within the system. Akin to debuggers in a computer system, the challenges and trials they face can be viewed as bugs or glitches in life that they need to work through. Their purpose is to help improve the system by learning from these challenges, thereby contributing to a more robust and efficient system. The second angle is that the members in this existential system, they're content creators. Humans, you could think humans or souls could be viewed as creators within the system. Within the system, not creators of the system. Creators within the system, endowed with the creativity to produce content, be it art, literature, science, or culture that enriches the system for all its members. Their purpose is to bring beauty, knowledge, and innovation into existence, enhancing the experience of all users in the system. There's also compilers, guys. We got to give a shout out to scribes and compilers. Those are hardworking people. The third angle, third purpose of, beings in a system, members in a system. Network strengtheners. From this viewpoint, the primary role of humans is to strengthen the connections within the system, building relationships and communities. This involves enhancing communication, fostering understanding, creating supportive networks. Much like how social networks operate, their purpose is to ensure a cohesive and supportive system where each member can thrive. So people who strengthen the network that we're existing in, remarkable. Another purpose is beta testers. In this perspective, humans are the participants in a trial phase. Okay, guys, so let me give you examples of this, right? Even though it gives itself. So the soul is acknowledging that there's an admin, and the soul is in a world, and the soul is like, okay, the type of service I can is by creating content, for example, by debugging the system, going through things and in some sense making them more efficient. We have those who strengthen the network. In some sense, a weak network, is it can't grow. Okay, anyways, let's keep going. Data processors, How far did I go? Okay, data processors. I don't know if I read this, but I'll read it again. Humans might be considered as processors tasked with absorbing, interpreting, acting upon the data, experiences, and revelations they receive throughout their lives. Their purpose is to learn and adapt based on this data, contributing to their personal development and the evolution of the entire system. Beta testers. In this perspective, humans are the participants in a trial phase of a grand experiment, tasked with living out various scenarios to test the limits and capabilities of the system. Their experiences, successes, and failures provide critical feedback to the system administrator, who uses this information to refine and optimize the system. Moral and ethical influences. Here, humans are seen as the moral compasses of the system, tasked with upholding and spreading ethical practices. Their purpose is to model good behavior and influence others within the system, fostering an environment where moral guidelines are respected and maintained. Evolutionary agents. Humans could be viewed as agents of evolution, not just biologically, but spiritually and culturally. Their purpose is to drive the evolution of the system towards higher levels of consciousness and complexity, contributing to an ongoing process of transformation and growth. System integrators. In this role, humans are tasked with harmonizing diverse components of the system, much like software integrators who ensure that different subsystems work together seamlessly. Their purpose is to bridge cultural, religious, and ideological divides to create a unified and functioning whole where all parts are aligned and cooperative. Innovation incubators. Humans might be viewed as living incubators for innovation, charged with not only adapting existing ideas but also generating new ones that can revolutionize the system. Their purpose involves pushing the boundaries of what is known and possible, driving the system towards unprecedented levels of advancement and efficiency. This is sounding familiar. Ethical hackers. In this perspective, humans act as ethical hackers who test the system's moral and ethical boundaries, challenging and questioning the status quo to improve security and integrity. Their role is crucial for identifying vulnerabilities in societal norms and values, ensuring that the system evolves to become more just and equitable. Legacy coders. Humans could be seen as coders of legacy, tasked with writing the code that will influence future generations. Their decisions, actions, and teachings from a code base that will guide the behavior and structure of the system long after they're gone, emphasizing the importance of wisdom and foresight in their contributions. Cultural architects. In this role, humans are the architects of societal structures and cultures. They design and build the societal norms and systems that govern behavior within the community, shaping the environment according to the divine specifications outlined by the system administrator. Okay, this list is okay. Quantum connectors. Here, humans are envisioned as connectors operating on a quantum level, tasked with linking the seen and unseen elements of the system. Their purpose is to explore and integrate the physical and spiritual dimensions, facilitating a deeper understanding of how the material and metaphysical realms influence each other. Harmonic tuners. In this creative role, humans are like tuners who adjust the frequencies of the system to maintain harmony. Their interactions and modifications to their environment and relationships are efforts to fine-tune the system, ensuring that it operates at its optimal vibrational frequency. Dimensional explorers. Humans might be seen as explorers tasked with navigating and mapping the various dimensions of the system, both physical and spiritual. Their journeys and discoveries expand the known boundaries of the system, adapting depth and complexity to the understanding of existence. Consciousness expanders. From this viewpoint, the purpose of humans is to expand the collective consciousness of the system. Through their experiences, reflections, and insights, they contribute to a broader, more inclusive awareness that elevates the entire system. So you see, the cool thing is, these are incredible roles. Which are actually inspiring me. From a sci-fi angle. Okay, I read the list. Now it's a metaphor. Spiraling angles. It's a metaphor that is saying, all right, let's treat it like a system. We are in this system. We are part of the system. When we look at the human lifetime, we know that there is memory. We know that there is a sort of accumulation of an archival effort of identity generation. How are we being human? In a system. And let's say you're someone who doesn't believe in God, just to go back to this point to finalize it. Everything we do is a system. You walk into a building, a bank, like the bank has an administrator. Do you know? You go anywhere, there's an administrator. You know, you're in the administration, you trust the administration, and then you step out of that room. But the thing when it comes to a divine system administrator, it is the notion that the whole world is the room. So you cannot ignore, you know, that we are in a world that we didn't create. Imagine you were like, you found yourself in, you know, in your friend's house, you know, and then you acted like you couldn't, you didn't believe your friend existed, and you were born in that house, and after billions, you know, millions of years, you know, you know, evolved in that house. That's how that house was there. And so the kid's like, no, man, my dad's an architect. He built this house. Get out of here. You know, so it's the notion of that there's a system admin. So with the consideration of the admin, it's kind of like a soccer field situation. You're allowed to play in the soccer field, do all sorts of things, but there's rules, there's ethics, there's various dimensions of consideration, right? So the possibilities of this metaphor, the whole episode, I'm saying God knows everything. The existential system admin is the main key to the success of life, right? Connecting, linking, honoring that position. And then after that, you know, I'm saying, so if we saw that as this idea of the system admin as a metaphor for that which is unspeakable, so then we're wondering, okay, why are we in the system? Now the purposes can go with like different angles. Right now there's 4 ways. If somebody says, all right, man, well, how many ways can you see purpose? I'd see there's purpose of self, we're living for ourselves. There's purpose of others, we're living for others. You know, there's a sort of, we have a purpose, you can say we're living for the world, even living for the future, but above all, living for God. God means the system admin, right? That means it's like you have to be conscious of what's in the room and that you did not create this room. And so you acknowledge an admin everywhere, like, you know, everybody's been a kid, and, you know, they've, you know, been raised in their parents' house or somewhere. And that place, wherever they were, those who owned that place, they had the administrative mind. The culture and everything was based on their value system. So in this system, you know, there's value propositions given when the moment you open your eyes, and you have an ability to analyze or calculate these, or, you know, wonder about these value propositions. But the main thing is to not be standing in an empty room. That means the moment you wake up, You don't feel like you're being watched, like how an ant under a, you know, like a cell under a microscope, but rather you get the feeling that you are in the presence of the greatest, the all praise due to the Lord of worlds, right? So the Lord of worlds means it's like beyond any program that any program can fathom. So the metaphoric possibility, I read for you a list of all the other of the angles that we can see, but at the same time, the main thing I see is that it's like a collaborative effort. So if life was this event and the mind felt like a projection, so we were like, okay, this is the being alive is the soul's project. It's what it's being tested on, perhaps. So this soul, so the projection into a reality, it's all about what do you see. So what sort of intelligence level are you giving to the context of the world you're in? Which is another way of saying, what type of world are you in? Are you in a world where it's alive, but it's not alive as if the whole world is an organism or we're all God, but rather the artist is not the artwork. So the metaphoric possibilities are vast. I am living in a way where I acknowledge there is a system admin, and I acknowledge that there is boundaries and limitations, and I also acknowledge that we are created by the greatest. Like it feels good. It's like imagine you write on your resume. It's like also my soul was created by God, bro. Relax, you know. You see, so it's the notion that we are not just created by the ultimate. We're not just in an ultimate position, in an ultimate test, but we are capable of noticing the magnificence, the majesty of the behind the scene orchestration of everything. It's fascinating. Anyways, guys, the possibilities continue. Thank you for listening. I'll end it here. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful, all praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Thank you.